Like many others working in the space, Karen Alexander is passionate about the ways that technology advances can expand creative possibilities and improve lives. She brings her background in higher education and her collaborative spirit to her work in XR, including to her roles as co-founder of XR Women Global and the Academy of Immersive Arts and Sciences. And with that, Karen, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And again, I am the co-founder of XR Women and the Academy of Immersive Arts and Sciences, two nonprofit organizations. XR Women just got our 501c3 status earlier this year. And so we're super excited about that. This has been a grassroots effort, and it has been an effort to grow this community, but I'm super proud of what we have done. As Andrew said, I do have a background in higher education, but I dove headfirst into XR back in 2016. And I would say I haven't looked back, but in a way, I've always had at least one foot in education. It still is an important part of what I do. And some of what I have done is consulting for higher ed organizations on the adoption and implementation of XR. And what I want to talk about today is a project that I presented earlier today in an in-person conference here in Pittsburgh, where I am based at the Global Impact Forum. I was followed by Mark Cuban. So seriously, mine was the last session of the day. There were breakout sessions, but he was the next speaker. So that was a little exciting. And so this project is the digital twin, digital thread of AI learning. And this is something that I've been working on with the Future of Work Faculty Association. It used to be the Future of Work Faculty Academy. This is an initiative that came out of one of Penn State University's satellite campuses, Penn State New Kensington, and was funded by a Build Back Better grant. And I've been working with them over several years, giving talks and workshops and whatnot. But I was asked to work on this project, which also involves Frame. So we were taking these high-level industrial concepts from the Industry 5.0 and applying them to higher education, which is challenging for professors who maybe don't have any contact with what's going on in advanced industry and in working with advanced AI. So we are starting on a really grassroots level. We started with this concept of, first of all, the digital twin, digital thread. So these pictures were taken yesterday and today from the Global Impact Forum, which I mentioned. There is Dr. Charles Camarda, who was part of our panel. He's a former astronaut. And so he was talking about some of these high-level concepts. And then my two faculty member partners, Martha Benson and Francily Medina, along with Ermi, another professor from the Pittsburgh region. And we've all worked with all of them and gotten to know them through the Faculty of Work, the Future of Work Faculty Association, which is a really interesting initiative in terms of trying to connect faculty to what is happening in the workplace and all the advances that technology like AI are making in those spaces. And how do they, number one, bring those concepts to their students so that their students are familiar with them and they are ready to engage in the kind of work that we're going to see with a lot of AI and automation, even in manufacturing, which is very important here in Southwest Pennsylvania, but also to take advantage of those sorts of processes to improve their learning experiences and the learning that they present to the students. So we're working with this concept of the digital twin, which many of you may be familiar with. And this does come out of Industry 4.0, 5.0. But we took this idea of having a system, say a factory floor, and having a virtual replica of it that you can walk through and you can read information about the equipment and you can interact with it. And then the digital thread comes in. And this is all the data that is collected there that shows, say, the life cycle of a piece of equipment or a system and provides that in a coherent, cohesive way. And so the interaction between these two, the bidirectional communication between the digital thread and the digital twin are hugely important. But there's also this idea of iterating on the current state of the system and improving it on the basis of the information you get from the digital thread. And this Dr. Michael Ritchie, who formerly worked at Boeing, he was the head of learning, I believe was his title there. He applied these concepts to learning. He first did it, and he gave a talk back in February to the Future of Work Faculty Association about how he used this concept to optimize a learning experience for engineers at Boeing. This is a representation of Michael's concepts, and with this iterative process added into it. Maybe a little hard to read there. And so taking those things together with the idea that spatialized interactive experiences can enhance learning and that XR is a great interface for AI, we built what we call a minimum viable learning experience. And this was just a prototype to introduce the faculty to this idea. It's a digital twin of a learning environment. Now, we're using digital twin a little loosely there, but it's something that the students can navigate through and that data can be collected as they do so. And so the teacher, the instructor, the faculty member can then take that information about the student interactions with whether it's 3D objects or whether it is PDFs or images, their interactions with the chatbots in the space, the transcripts of any lessons, the chat that they have with their fellow students. They can take those and analyze the learning and then go back and improve that learning experience. And it's a continuous process, right? So there's this way of optimizing the learning experience in a spatial environment through the collection of data. And that is where I stopped because I thought that would be about 5 minutes. So that is the project that I wanted to bring to you tonight.
Thank you.